the campus of Glassboro High School in Glassboro, New Jersey, Comcast Channel 5 presents high school football. Tonight, the Glassboro Bulldogs host the Schalick Cougars. Hello again, everyone. Rob Christ along with my partner, Shawn Leary. A beautiful evening for football, and do we have a good one for you tonight. Schalick and Glassboro, a pair of unbeatens, Group 1 powerhouses, and for many reasons, tonight it's really for all the marbles. Glassboro looking to avenge their defeat last year against this Schalick team. Schalick, of course, went on to win the Group 1 championship, and Shawn, just so many different subplots tonight. No question we're going to have a good game.
Well, that's the first time we're under the lights here at Glassboro, so that's pretty exciting for the Comcast team. But Glassboro is really excited for this game. You're right, Rob. Last year, they were really embarrassed on Channel 5. We had that game, and Schalick ran right down their throats with Kenny Bartee. I think tonight they want a little retribution, a little payback, but they're excited for this game. This could be for the Classic Division Championship.
Schalick may have a couple edges. One is a dominating offensive line, but they also have the ace in the hole, and that's Paul Gauze.
Yeah, he can dribble, shoot, score. Well, wrong sport. Paulie Gauze, he's a great basketball player, but also he is devastating on the football field. He plays that H-back position where he can do a lot of different things for you. He can run the reverses. He can also go out and catch a couple of passes, but this guy's a playmaker. Once he gets his hands on the ball, I say this every week about somebody on any team, he's the one for Schalick. Once he gets his hands on the ball, he can do so many different things with it. He's got good hands. You know, the basketball players, they got to have great hands. He has big mitts. So when he's able to go out, catch passes, and he can streak down the field, and he's been a big force for the Cougars this year.
Another guy who has done a little bit of everything, this time for Glassboro, Darrell Rhodes. He kicks field goals, extra points, kickoffs. He'll also play some mean defense, but he's also a terror on offense.
Yeah, he certainly is. And last year he got a chance, maybe the last 3 games. He was really sitting behind his brother Dante last season, but he still had about 500 or 600 yards. This year he's the man. Unfortunately, like his brother, he did get injured this year, and he's kind of nursing a little bit of an injury. But this guy's been pretty explosive. Each game he scores about 3 or 4 touchdowns. He can really carry this team. A great natural runner, great field vision. He's probably a natural safety, Rob, but they play him at linebacker, and he comes up and he'll lay a hit on you. So this guy, I know he's very excited for this game. He loves Channel 5. He loves being under the lights, the big show. This is a big-time game tonight.
How can you not love Channel 5? Well, you know, this Glassboro team has only played Gloucester in terms of having a true test, and tonight, no better way to test to see how well this program will do throughout the course of the season. We'll have opening kickoff for you right after this. Welcome back to Glassboro High School. We're underway. Romano with a low-line drive, and falling on top of it for Glassboro, Stephen Fleming. A beautiful facility here at Glassboro. Brand new, just their second time playing here at the new facility. And a great game tonight between 2 unbeatens, as we mentioned. Rob Christ along with Shawn Leary. Glassboro will start on offense. They've been very successful, averaging 39 points per game against a defense in Schalick that has not yielded a single point in terms of their first team. All the points coming in against Schalick this year, their second team. Glassboro will try to break that streak. Back to pass, a lot of time, out in the flat, has a man wide open, hits him in stride, and brought down George Johnson. Great size, the tight end at 6'4", hit in rhythm by Tim Haggerty.
Yeah, Haggerty finds Johnson right along the sideline. The big fella tries to stay in bounds, but good eye by the side judge to mark him out.
Let's take a look at that offense. Haggerty, your quarterback, Cunningham, Rhodes, we spoke about in the open, Simmons, Shepard, Johnson, and BBC's Longley, Smith, and Weiss. First down and 10. Big pickup, about 26 yards. Haggerty, I formation, handoff. Some room, cuts it back inside, still on his feet, driving forward is Darrell Rhodes. Rhodes with 3 touchdowns last week, and he's picking up right where he left off.
Yeah, he seems to be in pretty good shape now.
Dominic Panetta, DJ Brown, Woodley, and Mitchell up front. A very good defensive line. Jensen Latini, Romano, and Bailey, your linebackers. And the secondary, excellent in Paul Gauze, Jeff Hoyer, and Andrew Badger. And that's why they'll probably look to their tight end quite a bit this evening. And belly play right up the middle. This one is shut down after that carry earlier by Rhodes was enough for a first down. So it's going to be second down. Maybe he picked up a yard or two. Very long.
He brought up the point that the first team Schalick defense is not allowed a touchdown or a point all season long. So they deferred after they won the coin toss, and Glassboro elects to put on offense. That would give them great confidence if they could come out and score in their opening possession.
2nd and 9, Haggerty getting flushed out of the pocket, and he's dropped all the way back to the 39-yard line. A loss of about 10 yards. And there you see Herb Nealio, 5-0 this season with the Bulldogs. He's had some success with this Glassboro program. Very excited about tonight. Recognizes that his schedule hasn't been tough to this point. And there you see Josh Hedgeman, again undefeated last season, once again this season, on a roll. Much of that is due to their defense. Haggerty throws it up and in the flat finds a man threading the needle to find Brendan Simmons. And Simmons well short of that first down, so not much of a kicking game for these Glassboro Bulldogs. It'll be 4th down. And there you have it right from the... That's our third man in the booth, the referee. So 4th down and about 12.
Enough to go for it here.
Why not? Ball at the 29-yard line. Trying to draw Schalick off sides, and they do. So
I don't know. You might get I think Johnson on that left end might have flinched.
Well, that's a good point because I did not see any contact.
We have a dead ball, encroachment on the defense. Replay the down.
Well, I tell you what, that's a big penalty because all of a sudden, this is a very makeable 4th down now.
I think Glassboro might have got away with one. I think George Johnson might have flinched. The left tight end, and he might be a guy that they might look for here. He's a big target. Great hands.
Haggerty back to pass, a lot of time. Has a man out in the flat and just overthrows him. Too much for that man, Rodney Shepard. And the ball turned over on down, so Schalick able to hold off Glassboro despite that 4th down penalty.
Coming into the game, Simmons and Johnson were the 2 leading receivers for Glassboro. Shepard coming in with 2 catches, 24 yards. Johnson 7 for 188 and 3 scores.
There you see Jeff Hoyer, 5'10", 178-pound senior. Stars for the basketball team and directs this Schalick offense. We mentioned before Schalick, an excellent defense, but their offense maybe even more potent, averaging 40 points per game. There's the toss. And stringing it out well, that Glassboro defense stopping that threat of Paul Gauze.
It's going to be very interesting to see how Glassboro responds last year.
Let's take a look at that offense. Hoyer, Gauze, and Bailey in the backfield. Badger and Johnson. Haney's your tight end, and the line, an excellent offensive line. Brown, Romano, Woodley, Panetta, and Evans. They have some size, and they'll match up against many teams, not just Group 1 teams.
Yeah, last year, they really got hurt up front. Glassboro was pounded pretty much into the turf. At Schalick, you would think they'd want a little bit of revenge in this game.
Well, again, it's Gauze, and this time, again, nowhere to go, and I don't think he picked up an inch. We talked about the Glassboro defense. Let's take a look at it. George Johnson, Christopher Downs, Matt Sees, Chris Bowen, and Kevin Beebe. Part of that 5-2 package. Cunningham and Rhodes, your linebackers. Shepard, Carr, Smith, and Simmons, your secondary. So a 3rd down and long. And Glassboro would love to start things tonight with a stop on defense. Back to pass with time. Hoyer, the lefty, and throws it out, but seemed to be a miscommunication. May have been looking for Badger.
Yeah, I think he was. He was looking for the sophomore. Andrew Badger, 6 foot 175, coming out of the backfield.
And there you see.
Looked like he pulled the string a little bit too hard there.
Rhodes and Simmons. Rhodes very dangerous and just starting to kind of hit his stride.
Simmons has a touchdown this year on a punt return, averaging 33 yards per return.
Punt is away, and it's short. Very short, angled towards the sideline, and Glassboro will end up with excellent field position. Ball spotted at the 47-yard line of Schalick. So this is not the way that Josh Hedgeman and the Schalick Cougars would like to start things.
I think they wanted to start with their defense, and Glassboro comes out and is able to connect on a big pass play to George Johnson that gave them good field position. Schalick, knowing how strong their defense has been this year, thinking they could stop this guy.
That's coming into tonight, 605 yards and 10 touchdowns for Rhodes. 1st and 10, Haggerty hands off, and driving forward is Rhodes. He'll pick up a nice chunk. We'll call it about 5. So 2nd and 5. And if you're Glassboro, you love to see those short second downs. Glassboro, you had to like the aggressive nature of their first series. They recognize the solid secondary challenge, and yet they go right after it with a pass. Here's the handoff, and nothing doing there. May have lost a yard. So that was Darrell Rhodes.
Trying to string it out was Rhodes on that play. Just a junior, Rob. He's got some schools that he's really interested in, including Syracuse, Virginia, West Virginia. And he's also got a couple schools interested in him, including Lebanon Valley College, Muhlenberg. Older brother, Dante, graduated last year, a terrific running back in his own right.
So again, a key 3rd down for Glassboro as we approach 6:15 left. Haggerty will keep one-handed tackle as the play broke down. And it looked like a broken play.
What?
Kevin Mitchell, the one-handed tackle for Schalick, but it looked like the center may have snapped the ball before anybody knew it except Haggerty.
Well, what I think Chris Longley did was he thought maybe somebody jumped in the neutral zone and gave an early snap, and you try to get an offsides call there and get a free play. But it doesn't work out if the officials don't agree with you.
Gauls back to receive the punt, end over end, and Glassboro will allow it to roll. And again, Schalick pinned deep in their own territory. 1st down and 10. We'll step away. 5:32 left. Glassboro and Schalick are scoreless. Welcome back. Glassboro and Schalick scoreless still in the 1st quarter. The 2nd series for the Schalick Cougars. Unable to generate any offense in the 1st series. It was 3 and out, and once again, little there for the Cougars.
They might have picked up about 4 yards on that play. They're trying to establish that run right up the middle with that big offensive line. We talked to Coach Shawn Collins, one of the assistants before the game, and he said the running backs, basically, they're not getting touched until they're about 3 or 4 yards downfield. That's how well the offensive line has done their job this season.
2nd down. Again, the handoff to Gauze, and Gauze has stood up. May have picked up a yard or two. A penalty flag thrown on the field. I don't know if we'll have an opportunity at some point to get a shot at the Schalick stands, but yesterday we did the West Deptford and Haddonfield soccer game, a great crowd, and Schalick packing the stands on the opposing side. Always a great sign. South Jersey football just increasing in popularity, and it's awesome to see here in Gloucester County.
The big fella that time, Chris Bowen, on the stop.
We have holding on the offense, half the distance, repeat the down.
Chris Bowen, been looked at by Rutgers and LaSalle, 6'2", 295 defensive tackle.
That'll bring it back to make it second down and about 14 now. High formation. Schalick with miserable field position. And there you see Gauze on his feet. He's breaking away down the sideline. Gauze, one man to beat. Diving tackle will not catch. Oh, Gauze, touchdown Schalick.
Touchdown, Schalick.
Yard touchdown scamper by Paul Gauze, the leading scorer in South Jersey.
He just added to that total with explosive speed, but one of the things that he's worked on is his vision. Downfield, trying to feel the tacklers, breaks the tackle, finds the hole, and scampers down the sideline to increase his scoring title.
Romano's point after is up, and it's good. So Schalick on top 7-0. I was just about to say, Shawn, that deep in that end, oftentimes you see that long run because everybody kind of floods the box, and no sooner could I get it out did Paul Gauze take it coast to coast. 91-yard touchdown run, and that will be something that will seriously test this Glassboro team. The Cougars now outscoring opponents 214-33 on the season. Again, those 33 points not coming against their first unit.
And that was with a 9-6 victory against Salem this year. So they've really pummeled the other opponents really into submission.
You know, Shawn Collins, the head basketball coach for Schalick, was just effusive about Paul Gauze, and why not? He said, you know, he may lead South Jersey in basketball scoring and football scoring.
Yeah, that's amazing.
There's not too many times you'll see that happen, if any. So, you know, Gauze in some rarefied air there, but still a long way to go. But one of the things that he has obviously working in his favor is that this Schalick team is, first of all, going to go to the playoffs, so he will have extra games. Additionally, he has an excellent defense that will often put the ball in his hands. Romano, again, the squib kick, and this time it's picked cleanly, and it will be returned to the 45-yard line. So a lot of respect for the Glassboro return men will result in Glassboro's first down at the 45-yard line, and I think in part that's due to the respect for the return men, but I think it also speaks loudly to the confidence that this coaching staff has in their defense.
Yeah, they think their defense is the key to this team, and they have enough athletes on offense that they'll be able to score. But Coach Hedgeman is really a defensive-minded coach. You see Brandon Simmons and what he's been able to do this year, one of the go-to players for the Bulldogs.
An excellent push there by the Glassboro line, picking up about 5 yards as Rhodes. So again, those second down and fives, very makeable, but that last series, Schalick shut it right down.
That time, Morell's just trying to go straight up the middle, gain a couple of yards, put themselves in like a 2nd and 5. And now you're able to do a little bit more with the offense. If you want to try and set up a screen here, you can try and pass, you can run. Puts the defense into a guessing game.
Haggerty hands off, and again, it's going to be Rhodes. Rhodes working behind his blockers. And he'll have more than enough for the first down.
That time, a great block by Matt Sees, the left guard.
Well, thank you. Right into your living room. Last year, of course, Schalick really put a hurting on Glassboro. That game seen here on Channel 5. And right now, Schalick,
they hold a 2 straight consecutive seasons beating Glassboro.
Haggerty cuts it back inside, and a huge pickup. Glassboro looking to answer back.
But Haggerty, he's a crowd favorite because this guy, he's really done a terrific job as a sophomore quarterback. You know, he knows the game. He's got a brother who helps out on the coaching staff here. The one thing about the Haggerty brothers, They aren't the tallest guys out there.
Just 5'6".
But those guys really come to play. They're tough guys. They know the game. They love the game. They're the type of guys, Rob, I think a lot of coaches like to have one or two of those guys on your team to fire up the team in certain spots.
Wow! Welcome to the Schalick line. Darrell Rhodes, that's a 3-bell hit.
Dan Evans, 6'1", 315 pounds. Swallows Darrell Rhodes on the line that time.
Second down, no gain.
What a hit by Evans. 6'1", 315 pounds. That's like running into a brick wall.
See if Glassboro opts to go to the air. After that first pass, the line is penetrated. Good pressure. Haggerty has a man in the flat, throws it up, and it's a 50-50 ball, and it looks like it's intercepted. Hoyer comes away with the interception. Ball hung up just a little too long, and a big turnover for this Schalick defense.
Coming into the game, he had 36 attempts, only 2 interceptions. That time, I think it was a poor decision to throw it on the outside. Looked like it was about 3 or 4 players surrounding the receiver, and I think he, going with that play there, he probably should have looked at a different read or just taken the ball down and maybe try to get some yards yourself.
First down and 10 for the Cougars. Again, backed up to their 9-yard line, and I don't have to tell you what happened the last time they were at their 9-yard line. Handoff Gauze. This time he'll work on the right side, and they'll pick up a sizable chunk, about 6.
Same play, just a different side that time as they give it to Gauze. And he'll line up different places. That time he lined up in the eye, and they'll stick him at tailback. They'll stick him at that H-back position where he's able to do a few different things. He'd always try to like maybe hide this guy.
Kind of interesting because Collins said he's really most effective in the eye. Tends to hit that first man, and he has deceptive power, and then it's time to turn on the retro rockets.
One of the things he did in the offseason was run track. And he really credits that to trying to work on his speed.
Second down, and Gauze pushed back, but not before getting the first down. So Schalick will continue to move this football as we head towards the 1-minute mark in this first quarter.
You know what I think is really important in this game for Glassboro tonight, Rob, is to come out and be physical. Really man up and really take it to Schalick, because last year, you know, they were really pummeled by that offensive line, and then you had Kenny Barty coming through the line, and there were 6 or 7 guys that would go near him, and he would just break tackles. And I think they just need to be physical in this game, come out, try to establish themselves. But let's say, you know, we're not going to be intimidated this year.
First down and 10. Tripped up. Little Matt Bailey, 5'11", 180 with the carry. So Gauze getting a breather, if you will. But again, you see the good push of that Schalick offensive line.
Second down and 6 for the Cougars.
Yeah, that is a big offensive line. We had the Lindenwold-Paulsboro game last week, and Lindenwold with some big guys up front. Schalick, another Group 1 school that you're surprised when you see the girth in the trenches.
Toss. Gauze strings it outside, tripped up. Not much there, and Glassboro will need a big stand here on third down. But that won't happen until the second quarter because we're through with 1. Paul Gauze continues to excite. It's Schalick on top by 7. Welcome back to Glassboro High School. You see it, Schalick on top 7-0. Paul Gauze, a 91-yard touchdown run to open the scoring in this key football game between 2 Group 1 powers. Third down and stood up, still driving forward, but not much there for Schalick. And again, that was Bailey. So that'll force a 4th down.
Nice job that time by Kevin Cunningham, the junior linebacker, 5'10", 190. Standing up Bailey and ensuring him that he's not going to get the first down. We're going to force you to punt. At least we're expecting Schalick to punt here. Looks like fourth and about 3.5, 3. This is where Schalick can be or Glassboro can be very dangerous.
Punts away. And that will bounce all the way down to the Glassboro 33-yard line.
You can see the respect that Schalick has for this Glassboro punt return unit. Is both times that they've had to punt now, Rob, they've angled it towards the out of bounds. And I don't blame them.
We mentioned before Schalick with a high-powered offense. Glassboro, not too shabby, 195 to 21, the point differential. Now, you mentioned before, now, of course, 28. That was coming into tonight. But Paul Gauze, your punter, Shawn, and that's just another element that they have to be weary of.
Like, you never know when this guy might pull it down and take off. And Schalick's won the last couple of times, but Glassboro's really owned the series.
Kicking it outside. Rhodes has some room. Cut down in the secondary, but a pickup of about 16 yards. First down and 10 for Darrell Rhodes and the Bulldogs.
Nice hard run that time by Rhodes. And you can see that he's back at least above 80-90%. He's running hard again. That time he turns it and cuts it upfield, going between the two tacklers. Not shying away from the contact.
Hand off again, Rhodes. Breaking tackles, cuts it back inside, still on his feet, still driving forward. And that's a little bit of the magic you see of Rhodes. He has that burst of speed, but do not underestimate his power.
And that's not a good sign, though. A little limp coming off. As you can see, they were trying to tackle him near his ankles. He was getting caught from behind, and that's where you could be rolled up on. Somebody could hit you in the back of the ankle or one of those ACL, MCL injuries.
Now, you know, if you're Glassboro, this is probably 4-down territory. I'd love to see Haggerty go up to the air here because you have 2 more shots to make that 1 yard. 2 receivers split right. Haggerty takes the handoff, play action pass, has room. He'll tuck it under his arm with a lot of room. Down the sideline, Haggerty still on his feet. And a big gain for the diminutive Haggerty.
Terrific call by the Glassboro coaching staff. You get the 2 wide receivers to the right. That forces the corners and the safeties to kind of cheat over. You run it to the near side of the field. Little kind of almost like a naked boot, but he did have the option to pass it to his tight end. Great play call that time to spread out the defense and allow Haggerty to run.
First down and 10, Bulldogs. Haggerty will hand it off, and absolutely nothing there. Anthony Latini shutting it down.
I think that might have been Gadsden with the carry, number 26.
That was Gadsden.
Demetrius Gadsden, a sophomore. Gadsden, 25 carries, 222 yards, an average of 9 per carry and 2 touchdowns on the air. So Rhodes does come out, and they certainly want him back in the lineup, but Gadsden has done a decent job in some mop-up holes this year.
Under 9 minutes now, 2nd and 10. Haggerty back to pass with time, out in the flat, has a man, hits him in stride, still driving forward, and that looked to be Gadsden.
That time Gadsden just comes out of the backfield, and Haggerty puts the ball right up over his shoulder.
You know, Gadsden's listed at 5'9", but he certainly looks a lot bigger than that.
I'll tell you what that does. Depending on how injured Rhodes is, that really gives Gadsden a little bit of confidence coming out. You don't have to force him the football. He comes out and makes a catch. He certainly gets warmed up and into the game. It also shows the confidence that Coach Nealio has in the young sophomore.
Glassboro calls their first timeout of the evening with 8:42 remaining in this 2nd quarter. It's Schalick on top by 7. Welcome back, Glassboro High School. 8:42 remaining. First half, Schalick on top 7-0. Glassboro moving the football here. 3rd down and 4. And some litter. That was where Shawn picnicked before the game started. That looked like one of his paper plates out there.
Shawn Collins, I know. I seen him earlier.
Always passing the buck there.
I'm going to be passing too many bucks. I'm broke.
3rd down play. Rhodes is back in the game, and that's a big spark for this Glassboro team. He looks like he has enough for a 1st down. This is a tough press box, Shawn. I mean, first of all, I think we'd be legally married in about 4 states. Not only that, as soon as somebody stands up down there, then I get a very good look.
I'm a little closer to you than I want to be.
Well, you smell very fresh tonight, though. I'll give you that much.
I can tell you had chicken.
1st and goal, Glassboro. Full house backfield, and nothing doing there.
That's on Kevin Mitchell, comes off the end. Mitchell, 5'10", 276, a senior. Does a good job of standing his man up and nowhere to go that time.
Loss of 3 yards on the play, so 2nd down and 7. One thing that Glassboro's been effective with is getting Haggerty out of the pocket and giving him that run-pass option. Haggerty, not very big, as we mentioned, but has done a nice job thus far. Back to pass, has a man wide open, hits him in stride, and it's dropped. Rhodes drops the football. Well, Haggerty could not have laid that pass any better into the hands of Darrell Rhodes.
I think it was a little bit behind him. I think the ball was a little bit behind him. And in that situation, he kind of floated that ball. If that ball was thrown a little bit more in a line to him, first off, when you float the ball up there into the flat like that, what it does is now your receiver has to adjust to the football. You're not throwing to a spot. This receiver's going out, and the ball's floating behind him. And I think he had to turn around. He needs to catch that ball. I think it was kind of like on his hip, but still, that ball wasn't perfectly thrown.
Well, it certainly wasn't perfectly thrown, but as you mentioned, I mean, that ball's laid out in the flat and had a lot of air under it, so it's not a ball that's hard to adjust to. Darrell Rhodes has to catch that ball, and the likelihood is 9 out of 10 times he will. So,
and if you're going to throw it, if you're going to throw a fade or something in that, you got to get it over the receiver's head.
Here you see the Group 1 power points, and surprisingly, it's Lindenwald on top with 20 with that 3-2 mark. Schalick right behind him with 19, along with Paulsboro, who's played 6 games. Glassboro, then Gateway, Salem, Gloucester, Riverside, Woodstown, and Woodbury. How about those Gators? My good old Gators. They're doing a nice job. You got Leamy powering that offense. And Mark Deal's done a nice job with Gateway. You have to be excited if you're a Gateway fan. It's been a long time since they've had anything to root for come football-wise, and it's great to see.
Yeah, it is. It's terrific. Leamy and Flacco over there. Gateway's doing a nice job. We'll have them later on in the year against Paulsboro right here on Channel 5.
That'll be a good one. That'll be Gateway's first true opportunity to beat Paulsboro in a while. Haggerty out of the pocket, has a man, throws it, and underthrows it. Is it picked off? No ruling yet. And the referees will convene to determine whether or not that ball hit the ground, and they will rule it incomplete. So 4th down and goal at the 7. And we'll see whether or not Rhodes will come on to attempt the field goal. We had this very discussion with Herb Nealio beforehand. Well, if the ball was at about the 7, 4th down, would he go for the field goal? He said, well, we may in that instance, otherwise you will not see the field goal unit. And it looks like they're going to go for it here. Well, I guess if you don't make it, you pin them back further, but if you had confidence with Rhodes kicking from 30 yards.
I'd let Johnson go and get it.
Haggerty knocked down. And that's going to be the problem. When Haggerty stays in that pocket, you're not going to get a lot of passes through that line. And again, I would have liked to see Glassboro. He mentioned to us if the ball's at the 15-yard line or in, then he's apt to try a field goal. And I would have liked to see that there just to get some confidence from this Glassboro unit.
Well, that's the time, like you're saying, Rob, that Haggerty's size may have been a factor. The little guy's behind there, and he has to go throw over the big line. They just get a couple of hands up and block that pass down on 4th down. Nice job by the Schalick defense to hold on that play.
I don't think Haggerty's going to have very much success by staying in the pocket. And if you're at defensive end, you contain Haggerty, then you're going to have an easy time of it.
And that's against this team. Now, in other games, they might have a little bit better of an opportunity to throw in the pocket because you're not going to get a huge rush. But Schalick's going to give you a good rush. They have a terrific defensive line. They can shoot the linebackers in, and that's going to force Haggerty to roll out of the pocket. We've already seen Herb Melia with some nice calls in the Glassboro coaching staff. We're trying to roll him out and still get involved with the passing game.
Clock continues to roll, 6:43 and counting. Schalick with the 2nd and 7 now. Again, their field position has been miserable, yet they lead this game 7-0 on the strength of a 91-yard touchdown run by that man, Paul Gauze, and he is stood up and sent backwards. Big hit laid out by that man, and that is Chris Bowen, as you mentioned, 6'2", 301 pounds. And when you talk about nose tackles, you love to see someone with that tremendous size just take up space, but he showed a little bit more than that as he held up Gauze.
His favorite athlete is Warren Sapp, and you can see why. Big defensive tackle, good bloodlines. Milton Bowen and Zeke Jenkins, both football players. Zeke Jenkins, a couple of years ago, one of the main components of the Glassboro offensive and defensive lines in years when they won a couple of championships here.
Gauze handoff, and again brought down in the backfield. They may have lost another one.
That time, nice job by George Johnson, the defensive end. Looked like BB might have been on the play. Just firing up the ends, making sure that they don't string it out and allowing them to get to the outside.
So 4th down here. Gauze will punt. Back to receive for Glassboro.
So far, they've tried to angle the ball away from the Glassboro return man. This time, Rhodes is the only single player back. So far, they've had Simmons back there with him. This time, he's by himself.
I think Rhodes is a bad snap. Gauze gets it away through traffic, and a big roll. And that will be down at the 44-yard line. I was just about to say, I think Rhodes is giving him just a little bit too much room. So allowing that to bounce for an additional 15 yards backs up Glassboro.
I'll tell you what, you might have been lucky, or Schalick might have been lucky they had Gauze back there as their punt. The ball was snapped a little high. Good hands, he's able to pull it down. Remains patient and gets it off under what was a pretty heavy rush. Glassboro that time elected to only have one guy back. They were sending more people to try and go after the punt.
Well, again, this Glassboro offense up against it. They've been able to move this football, but it's been mostly Rhodes. Haggerty has shown some spark when he's gone outside of the pocket. 1st down and 10, 4:50 remaining in this first half. It's been a good one. Haggerty, handoff inside, cutting through Rhodes. Dances back, cuts it against the grain. On his feet, tackled by Gauze. Well, you see some of the magic of Darrell Rhodes, but Paul Gauze would not be denied in the secondary.
What footwork by Rhodes that time with 2 defenders falling at his feet. What a great job of cutting back. Talk about cutting back on a dime. Terrific job, and then spurts it to the right, to the outside. What a run by Rhodes.
1st down and 10. Rhodes has had a very productive first half. 4:20 and counting. High formation, handoff Rhodes again. Cut down in the backfield. Big hit laid out by D.J. Brown. Cutting and mixing.
Brown, one of the big guys on the line.
Well, he was first team last year on offense and defense, and Sean Collins said, hey, this is the best lineman in the entire league.
6'2", 280.
Second down. Haggerty back to pass across the middle. Almost picked off. Haggerty throws behind the receiver. And again, almost another interception. Haggerty has flirted with disaster all evening.
Again, he is just a sophomore. You want to make sure that you put him in the best possible scenarios, and I like the fact that Neilio is giving him the confidence to say, let's try and throw the ball up top. We have some weapons. Let's not be afraid to use our sophomore quarterback in a big game.
Well, again, you saw Haggerty in the pocket now. Inside, knocked down, and again, that's going to be the trouble with Haggerty we mentioned. You have that screen set up, so you have exactly what you want by allowing the penetration of the line. It's exactly the way the play is written up. You can't do it any better than that, but again, as a quarterback, you've got to get the job done, and it's going to be tough when you're so diminutive. Haggerty, the play earlier, may have trouble also seeing over that line, and that may be why he threw behind the receiver. We're not taking anything away from Haggerty. He does more than most would do with his size, but it's obviously one thing that is certainly a shortcoming in his game. No pun intended. Haggerty, big rush, throws it up, and a great catch is made, and it is dropped. Initially, it looked like Brandon Simmons made the catch, and that was actually Rhodes.
Yeah, he almost came away with a terrific catch. The ball was thrown a little bit behind him. He tried to stretch back and almost made what would have been a first and goal situation at least.
Well, I tell you, got to credit Haggerty because he had tremendous pressure there and threw it about as well as you can. And Rhodes with a tremendous effort, but well covered on the play. 3:17 now, and Schalick with enough time to generate a long march here, but Glassboro defense has played very well except for that one touchdown run.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So far, Bowen and the boys are doing a terrific job defensively of keeping the Schalick offense in pretty much check. The one big run by Gauze, and that's what Schalick likes to do. They like to play defense and get that big run from either Gauze or Hoyer or Bailey.
2nd and 10. Hoyer has not gone to the air much tonight. We'll see if he does here. Hoyer, hand off the H-back. And again, not a whole lot doing for Andrew Badger and the Cougars. So BB and C's your tacklers with 2:18 remaining. Clock continues to move, a key third down. If Glassboro can stop them here and call a timeout, they certainly would have enough time to generate a score and try to tie this football game. And wisely, Schalick using as much of this clock as possible. Down to 1:55. Hoyer, knocked down. Well, Hoyer had a quick two-step drop, but just too much penetration there as they try to throw the quick out. And not only is that incomplete, but it stops the clock and saves a timeout for Glassboro.
Well, it's fitting for Bowen to start really having a good part to his season because he's a monster with Halloween coming. This guy is tremendous inside, Rob. So far, he's just been unblockable. Comes in, gets his hand up on the play, disrupts the pass.
A low line drive, and it's fielded. This is Simmons. Simmons spinning and cut down at about his 39-yard line. So 1:38 remaining in this first half. Glassboro having to travel 61 yards to get it in the end zone. Darrell Rhodes has shown that he can pick up big chunks at a time. So we'll see whether or not they can generate a swift attack. You know, Glassboro coming into this game had only yielded 21 points. All of those points had come in the fourth quarter when essentially the game had been decided. And again, Haggerty has his man at Simmons. Great pass and a better catch. A shoestring catch by Brandon Simmons on a moist evening. What an individual effort. The chains will move, the clock will stop. And again, this is where Glassboro has to get it going. You have to call a couple plays in this huddle. The play had completed with 90 seconds left, and now they've lost essentially at least another 15 seconds. First and 10. Down to 112 now. Haggerty throws it up, and it's knocked down. So, again, by not calling two plays in the huddle, you quickly rush to the line and allow good penetration by that Schalick line, and essentially you've wasted a play and 21 seconds.
And you want to think about doing that, especially coming out from the turnover on downs. It gives you the opportunity to maybe to set up a couple of plays. You say, look, here's the first play we're going to run. After that, we're going to run this one, and then you have to worry about what happens after that.
Second down 10, I formation. Haggerty, draw play, big cut down in the backfield by, it looked to be Romano.
I think it might have been Anthony Romano. 5'11", 230, the senior. Actually, you know what? That might have been Kevin Mitchell again. Number 80 coming off the end. Romano liked it, though.
Yeah. Well, Kevin Mitchell, 276. Darrell Rhodes felt all of it.
Mitchell's thinking about going to Rowan.
That won't be far.
No.
Walk right out of the front door and head on over to campus.
That's if he was going to Glassboro, but he goes to Shawn.
Well, yeah, that's a good point. Be a bit of a longer walk, wouldn't it?
Longer walk, but
he could always move to Glassboro, live on campus, and walk out of his dorm and be right there.
There's an option.
It's been done before. Third down.
Just trying to keep you on your toes tonight, Rob. This is a big game.
You got me on my toes. You're right up against me. Haggerty, pass, throws it up, and this will be too much for the wide receiver. But again, that's why Haggerty is your quarterback. He has a good arm, and just a little bit too much for Shepard. And I think Shepard, again, as a wide receiver, they teach you put your head down and chase the ball. Instead, Shepard trying to find it, and that's going to slow you down considerably.
Yeah, he wasn't in good position that time. Ball thrown over his head. He had to pull, look, one of them Jimmy Edmonds catches. Get to see him from the Cardinals over the shoulder. They're going to punt now. 46 seconds left.
Don't be surprised if this punt goes out of bounds, because the last thing you want is Paul Gauze to return one right before the end of the first half. Gauze back to receive the punt, and it's a high punt, end over end. They do kick to Gauze, but it's short. It will roll, and Gauze will wisely let it be down at the 14-yard line. So 37 seconds remaining. And that's George Jensen who downed it. That's Jensen, not Jetson.
Yeah, it is. George Jetson. I know what you're getting at. Yeah, like the Jetsons. Elroy and Fred and Barney.
Yeah, all the gang.
My kids right now are with Ubi and Elmo.
Yeah.
I'm not quite back to the Jetsons. Well, that's a while ago.
We got the Wiggles.
Yeah, the Wiggles.
36.4 seconds remaining. First and 10, handoff Gauze, and Gauze brought down. May have picked up one.
Yeah, wheels do rock out once in a while.
Well, that's a discussion for another time. That may be our last play of the first half as we're down to 18 seconds. I think Schalick is content to call it a half.
Well, you know what? Glassboro's done a terrific job of really containing the Schalick offense except for one play. I think if you're Herb Neal, you go into the locker room pretty happy with the way your team has responded to what, happened last year. Group 1 defending champions. I would say they outplayed them except for the one play.
Well, Schalick has done the most with what little field position they have. It's Paul Gause who's been the difference, a 91-yard touchdown run. They head to the locker room with the Cougars on top by 7. Welcome back to Glassboro High School. About to begin this second half. Schalick on top, 7-0. Rob Christ, along with Shawn, Leary, Paul Gause, accounted for the lone score in the first quarter, a 91-yard touchdown run. And Schalick with poor field position the entire first half. They'll look to improve right here as we start in the third quarter, and they will. A short kick, Gause still on his feet, and look at the power of Paul Gause, bringing it all the way up to the 43-yard line.
Kevin Cunningham.
44-yard line for the Cougars, 1st and 10. And again, Schalick now with some room to operate, and perhaps they can open up their offense.
Yeah, really, Glassboro owned the battle of field position in the first half, pretty much throughout the entire first half.
Hoyer, handoff, Gause, dancing. Not much there, picks up 1 or 2. Shawn, as we approach the press box to start the third quarter, you had to be touched by the rousing ovation that these Glassboro fans gave their football team, something you don't see very often, really trying to spark this team and that man, Herb Nealio, to come out on top.
Well, there's a great tradition here at Glassboro. This team has won some South Jersey championships, or usually a program that's at the top of the Classic division or in the Olympics.
Second down, play action pass. Hoyer flushed out of the pocket. He has speed. He has a man though, throws it, has a first down as he connects with Badger. So Hoyer showing some escapability and moving the sticks.
Yeah, they really haven't tried to rely too much on the arm of Hoyer tonight. They've done a lot of running in between the tackles with Gause. That time, they're just a quick little rollout with the left-hander.
First and 10, Schalick in Glassboro territory. Rare occurrence this evening. Hoyer hands off, and again, look at the burst of Paul Gause. It's interesting, Shawn, because we spoke to his basketball coach, Shawn Collins, before the game, and he mentioned that a few Division I schools, Middle Tennessee State, South Carolina, interested in him perhaps as a point guard, but not really generating as much interest as many people would have thought originally. But football-wise, he's getting looks from major Division I programs.
Yeah, it looks like, if he decides on playing football, I know his love is, basketball, but the big Division I schools, I know Minnesota and Rutgers, some of the bigger Division I schools, Iowa, have interest in Gause as a football player. Now, what's interesting about that is, some school may get 2 for the price of 1 with Paul Gause. Shawn Collins said somebody like Maryland, if Gause decides to play football for Maryland,
or Rutgers,
anybody, you're going to get a tremendous walk-on as a basketball player coming on and trying out for your team, and that saves the scholarship.
Exactly, and that's what the basketball coach loves. The scholarship is credited to the football program. You saw that in Nebraska this year. Hoyer fakes out of the pocket with blockers. Instead has a man wide open, and again it looks to be Badger.
That time, plenty of room to run.
It was not Badger,
I think it might have been Bradbury, number 81.
It was Bradbury.
Junior, 5'9", 140, sneaks behind the defense. That time Hoyer opts to swing it out to him instead of moving it upfield. He did have a blocker coming in front of him, but nice patience that time. Really froze the outside linebacker on the play. Linebacker didn't know whether to come up and go for Hoyer or stay home with the wide receiver.
I really think this would be devastating to Glassboro if Schalick scores on their opening possession. Goss dancing, not much there. Well, this is 4-down territory. Not much of a kicking game for the Schalick Cougars.
I think they've booted, 2 field goals so far this year.
Second down and 8. Here's the option. Hoyer instead tucks it under and throws it up for Gauls. A dangerous play.
And George Johnson wants him in the grasp. Johnson was the one coming up on Hoyer, and that time a nice job by the big defensive end, making sure he doesn't allow the pitch, nor Hoyer able to turn it back upfield. Reads the play extremely well, but Hoyer and Gauze, I know they mix it up a lot on the basketball court. That time he has a lot of confidence to try and get it out to him.
Those are the type of plays that give coaches gray hair. Third down after the loss. And this is a big play. Third down and 13. Hoyer back to pass. Getting pressure, falls down. Falls down and all the way back to his 32-yard line. So this will be interesting because that'll make it about 4th down and about 20.
Again, trying to roll to the right that time. George Johnson, Jr., lined up on that side. 6'4", 225, a junior. The same guy that recruited Lamont Robinson to Al Groh.
Now they're going to go for it here. I got to be honest with you. If I'm coaching, I punt. Why not try to pin him back?
Yeah, I would have punted in this situation too as well.
Hoyer back to pass, throws it up for grabs, and nobody there.
Now, what I think in that situation Hedgeman's doing, and he probably has talked to his quarterback enough to say if we go for it in this situation, is throw it up so much, it's almost like a punt.
Right.
So if that time your guy either comes down with it and you really take the heart away from Glassboro if you're able to score. If they do intercept it, then Glassboro is going to be pinned. And if they, the pass is incomplete, you have so much confidence in your defense that you're okay with giving them the ball at the 30.
Or try to get a flag. Toss, Rhodes picks it back inside. Solid pickup of about 6.
Well, that time Romano does a terrific job, the linebacker, of getting to the outside and forces Rhodes to turn it back upfield. That's where Rhodes becomes extremely dangerous because of his footwork. Each back that you see that is very good has different things that make them stand out apart from others. And with Rhodes, it's his footwork. We've already seen that in the first half, where he makes guys miss. He just has tremendous foot speed.
Well, again, we've seen that a few times tonight. Big pickup on first down, and it looks like it's going to be easy going. And then all of a sudden, things shut down. That time, Rhodes lost his footing, but that was due in large part to the on-rushing Schalick defensive line. So
that was not his best footwork there.
Well, again, I think he...
A little slip on it is probably a little slippery out there. It's been raining all week. The field almost was a little spongy as well.
Rhodes, play action, and he'll pass. Still on his feet, cuts it back inside. What a bad decision there. What a terrible decision by George Johnson. Had more than enough for the first down, and then cut it and turned it into a 4th down. Wow. George Johnson was 3 yards past the stick and then decided to turn it into a work of art, but it looked like some type of modern art because it wasn't very pretty.
Well, that could almost be the frustrations of not being able to score. You put up over 200 points this year. 195. Coming into this game, you're being shut out and maybe trying to make too many things happen.
Patrick Smith.
Well, with 4:37 left, Glassboro trails Schalick 7-0. Welcome back. First and 10, Schalick toss, Gauze. Blockers in front, tripped up.
That time he had a couple blockers in front of him. He might have been tripped up by his own man trying to get to the outside.
Brandon Simmons with the tackle.
You know, it's kind of interesting how coaches, they look at how the game's develop and they try to find something and then, use that to their advantage. George Johnson just makes a bad decision. His head's not in the game. So who do they run it right at? First play, as soon as they get the possession, George Johnson.
Good point. Second down, play action. Hoyer has a man wide open, and just not enough on that football, as that ball could have easily been picked off. As Greg Smith was reading that play, there was a tremendous bubble there that Smith gave the wide out, but Hoyer just did not have enough on the football.
Smith claims his weakness is speed. He got to the football, but John Jensen, Schalick receiver out there, did a nice job of playing the defender, coming back and making sure that Smith didn't return that for a touchdown.
Third down. Hoyer setting up the screen, has a man, and it is dropped. Is it ruled a forward pass? Yes, so incomplete. That play just took too much time to develop, and Glassboro really sniffed it out. Darrell Rhodes is really cramping up. He's walking around. He looks, Shawn.
Yeah, that's
looks like he's doing a Shawn Leary impersonation. Hopefully it's just a cramp.
That's a little cramp that he has.
That looks like you after you've walked 2 flights of stairs.
That's because my muscles are so big that they just, if I don't get enough.
Hydrate. You have to hydrate, Shawn.
They got it.
Kind of a cool night. So you don't see a whole lot of that usually. You see a lot of that during the early parts of the season. It's a little warm out.
So that's what when I used to play baseball, I'd kind of cramp up periodically. So we had a cute trainer. You get the little massage. And in baseball, you didn't have to come out of the game. So that was always a bonus. Let's take a look at our South Jersey top 10 scorers. Paul Gauze now with 86 points. Kevin Leamy, we talked about really leading the offense for the Gators. And Murph Trout, we had an opportunity to see him earlier, along with Cordell Young and Ed Denisi. What's really impressive there is you have 2 West Deptford kids combining for 138 points. And of course, Darrell Rhodes, who also has 66 to be tied with Saunders for 6th place. So again, some heady stuff there for some of those players, generating a lot of points. Gauze, again now with 86.
A lot of people are talking that West Deptford team may rival any that we have seen in the last 15 years, including the Harvey. People are talking the Harvey era in Paulsboro. An incredible, well-oiled machine right now is the West Deptford offense. I'm saying people are saying that. People are talking.
Gauze has been effective with those low-line drives that have only gone about 20 yards or so, but have rolled another 20. And not only has it allowed the punt to be elongated, but it denies the return man any opportunity.
Well, that's they're working on Rhodes, and he's not back there to return the punts. But that's a smart game plan coming in. set your defense up and allow them to do what they've been doing all season long. You don't want to get burned on a punt return where you get some of these great return guys for Glassboro with the ball in the open field.
Right up the gut. Not much there. Second down as we're now under 3:30 remaining in this third quarter. So it's been a defensive battle. And coming into this game, many people would have said, you know, these are two offenses that have generated close to 40 points each. Glassboro with 39 points per game. But do not overlook their defense.
Yeah, right.
And defense, you know, it's like in baseball. Good pitching beats good hitting. I think good defense beats good offense. Haggerty now with under 3 minutes. Second down, 6. Handoff off tackle with some room, a straight arm, and knocked out of bounds. And it looks like it may have been a late hit.
Yeah, it looked like it might have been Ralph Carr with the handoff.
Initial indication against Schalick.
Carr, just a freshman, 5'10", 160. Getting a couple looks here with Darrell Rhodes still on the sideline now. Rhodes is coming up and wanting to get back into the
Dead ball, late hit, personal foul out of bounds, 15 yards, first down.
Well, again, if you're Josh Hedgeman, you don't like that. But again, you have a solid defense that will give you some cushion. But Glassboro now into Schalick territory. Glassboro has moved the ball well until they've gotten to the red zone. First and 10. Dual receiver split left. Haggerty turns it back inside. Haggerty still on his feet. Very close to a first down. And you know, one of the things that we talked about is Haggerty's size as being a detriment. But there, it's a positive because he gets lost behind the line.
You're exactly right. And this is where he could become very effective in the second half, is using him as another ball carrier. You know, you keep giving the ball to Rhodes, and teams are going to zero in on him. In the first half, that's what you're doing. You're setting it up for the second half. You make some adjustments, and you try to get Haggerty now with a couple of option plays. And you're right, he can get lost. You're going to get it all sides here. A little jump, a little excitement. That's on by Joshua Weiss.
Have a dead ball, false start on the offense, repeat the down, first down.
Well, you know, that's another thing that we haven't talked about. Glassboro has been relatively mistake-free, and that has really kept them in the football game as well.
Well, I'll tell you, this mistake becomes magnified against the defense like this. Now you put yourself at 1st and 15. You know, it's hard to pick up 10 in 3 or 4 downs against the Cougars.
1st and 15 at the 39-yard line. Haggerty, quick out. That is Simmons, and that's a nice play.
Yep, I love it. I love the call. You know, I think they have to do some of those quick screens, because what happens is you get your big wide receivers, and these guys do have size. Brandon Simmons, 6'1", 180. You get them basically one-on-one with the cornerback. I know Schalick has a very good secondary. I know they can come up, make plays. They fire after the football. But I like the matchups with the wide receivers, the strength, the size of the Glassboro wideouts.
Second down. One setback, it's Rhodes. Pitch, Rhodes fumbles the football. Schalick falls on it. I think that's a case where Rhodes kind of peeked ahead.
You're exactly right. Yeah, he looked upfield, looking to see where he was going to be running with the ball. There was a Schalick guy going to be barreling in on him. He wanted to see where he wanted to make his cuts. That's just a
well, almost on cue. I talked about how Glassboro has been relatively mistake-free, and of course they had the interception earlier. Now the turnover as Rhodes drops the pitch. And look at this inside play, Badger. And we have penalty flags here. I think this is going to come back.
Yeah, they might get a hold on the wide out there, trying to block downfield. Yep.
So again, that'll be marked off from the spot of the penalty. So it'll end up probably being somewhere around first down and 12 or so.
We have a hold on the offense, 10 yards, repeat the down.
Yeah, it's going to be probably about a 1st and 14.
Minute 26 left in this third quarter. This game has been played very quickly. And it's been exciting, including Gause's 91-yard scamper.
First game shown here on Channel 5 under the lights at Glassboro High School.
Beautiful facility. Of course, Glassboro without this facility last year.
They can do a little work on the size of the press box. Other than that.
Well, just no room to operate for the Schalick offense right now. And again, it really, I think that speaks volumes about what Gause can do, because there hasn't been much there, but he saw one seam at one time and he broke it for 91 yards.
Well, he slipped a couple of tackles on that play and scampered. So you're right, he's one of those weapons where he can make what you think is going to be nothing or very little into 91 yards and a 7-0 lead.
Down to about 20 seconds left in this third quarter. Second down and 13. Hoyer back to pass. Throws it up. Has a man. It's Badger, and just over his outstretched arms.
I tell you, the secondary, really the secondary for both teams, but especially Glassboro right now, doing a nice job of forcing everything out. You know, as you've seen a couple times tonight, Hoyer has had to go to the sidelines, which results in a longer bit of a pass. If you're throwing the ball over the middle of the field, it's a shorter pass. The ball's not going to float on you. You're going to have more, it's going to be a little bit more crisp, and the quarterback's going to get a little bit more on it. To force everything to the outside in high school football, you're forcing the quarterback to throw it up there. Now you have your cornerbacks, especially with Glassboro, who have great speed, who can close in on the play and cause turnovers.
Well, remember earlier, Glassboro was successful by hitting the tight end. Maybe that's something both of these teams need to revisit. Again, there you see that little play by Badger, but I believe the ball was down, so that'll do it here in the third quarter. Schalick will be forced to punt. We'll head to break with the final quarter. Schalick leading 7-0. Welcome back. Start of the fourth quarter. Schalick will punt it away. It's Gause with that left foot. Has been effective. And again, he'll angle to the sideline. This time, relatively short punt.
Yeah, it was
about the 37-yard line for Glassboro.
It's about 15, 16 yards on that punt. That ball shanked off the side of his foot. But again, he's done a nice job of making sure. I'm sure Coach Edgman said to him, whatever you do, just don't punt it toward him. Just kick it out of bounds. Let's get our defense set and go after him.
It'll be placed at the Glassboro 37, first and 10.
With Glassboro now, they really have to generate something on offense. Like you keep saying this on him, I really do believe you got to roll Haggerty out and try to get him one-on-one situations with maybe the big tight end.
Inside. Again, Glassboro has been very successful on first down. Terrell Rhodes typically picking up 5 and 6 yards on first down, and it seems like it's a script, because then second down, the play gets shut down immediately.
Now, one of the problems, you have Johnson, who's 6'4", a great target over the middle, but Haggerty is limited in some of the things that he can do, and you want to get that guy over the middle, but you're just not able to do it. Now you have to try and find ways to get to the football.
Again, Rhodes. Well, like I said, first down 5, second down nothing.
There goes his leg again. It'll just tighten up.
And that second down is a place where you'd like to see maybe a play action thrown in once in a while to keep that offense, or excuse me, that defense honest. I'd like to see Haggerty rolling out of the pocket here. 2 receivers split left. In motion, it's Simmons. Haggerty, play action. They'll roll out of the pocket. Steps up. Now he'll cut it back. A lot of room here for Haggerty. More than enough for the first down. Big block laid out. Haggerty down to the 30-yard line. Well, credit Haggerty with some excellent vision because everything was skewed to the right side. He noticed he had a blocker and a whole lot of room and picked up a big chunk there.
Oh, and did he have a blocker? How about Darrell Rhodes laying out the linebacker? I think he got a piece of Jeremy Reese. But you're right. And see what when you roll out of the pocket, you have so many different things that's going to happen there. It's all misdirection. Now you have the Schalick defense kind of back on their heels, thinking pass to the right. So they're not even paying attention to the left side of the field.
The other thing, too, is you're facing an excellent defense, and once you're outside of the pocket and you force the defense to improvise, then that's when they get into trouble. 1st and 10, ball at the 33-yard line. Pitch, Rhodes, quickly outside, and again, a nice pickup for the Bulldogs.
You can see Rhodes has worked out a little bit during the offseason. He's got some power behind him.
And Rhodes again cramping up. It's time for the pickle juice.
That's what I really like about Haggerty. We've been on him a little bit about his size, and that's something he cleaned up. But what he does terrific is once a play breaks down, he's able to become a very effective runner.
Well, Glassboro's been effective inside the 20s. Well, again, I hate to beat a dead horse, but second down has really been a problem.
That's okay. In there, in second down, sometimes you might think of maybe a play action pass, something when you got that 2nd and 5 situation. But what you're doing there is, you want to make sure you try and pick up the first down here. And with your main weapon on the sideline with cramps, you don't want to try to get it only on 2 downs. You got to make sure you try and pound it to pick up the first down. It doesn't work there, but you gave yourself the chance.
I think again, just keeping that defense a little honest, as opposed to pounding it up the middle. 3rd down, Haggerty again outside, forced out of the pocket and dropped at the 39-yard line. And
nice coverage downfield by Schalick. The perfect pass rush. Firing upfield. Everyone was covered downfield. Nowhere to go with the football for Haggerty. Still 8:34 and now decision time for Herb Melia. Does he punt and try to force him back? I think you certainly do.
And he will. And again, Glassboro very effective inside the 20s. But once they've gotten towards that red zone, things have tightened up. High booming punt, and Galls will watch it bounce. It'll take a Schalick roll and be down at about the 10-yard line.
Well, it could have been a Glassboro roll, because if that ball bounces in the end zone, you'd lose 10 yards. Now they're at the 10. Now a couple things can happen if you're Glassboro. You're looking to see maybe a possible fumble, but you pin them back and force them, even if they pick up a first down or two. If you force Schalick to punt, you play good defense, you should have good field position.
Well, we spoke before about how Glassboro had been relatively mistake-free. They did have the interception, and then after we mentioned that, of course, Rhodes dropped the ball, but Schalick has been turnover-free, and right now, that's something they can ill afford deep in their own end. 1st down and 10 at the 10, 8:07 left in this 4th quarter. No surprise here, it's Goss. And once again, not much room for the stunning senior.
But he has been the difference, the long run. Other than that, the Glassboro defense has played tremendous team defense, getting to the football, limiting Schalick to 1 or 2 first downs the entire game.
.30 left. 7-0 Schalick. 2nd down. Call it 9. Again, Galls hits the hole quickly, and it is sealed even quicker. I I'll tell you what, you can't say enough about how well this Glassboro defense has played.
They got the big guys just stuffing it in the middle. Christopher Downs, the senior, 6'1", 345. Nowhere to go inside with the football. And that really sets up everything offensively for Schalick. If they're not able to get between the tackles, that forces everything to the outside. And Glassboro also does well with that. They have tremendous speedy wide receivers. They got the big defensive ends. They match up well with this Schalick team. The difference, Paul Gauze, 91 yards.
Hand off Gauze. With room, Gauze still on his feet. Look at Gauze. Turning it on, Gauze. One man to beat. Paul Gauze all the way down for the touchdown. The referee was knocked down on the play. And he's now coming to his feet. A referee's timeout, but Paul Gauze with the explosion. 91 yards the first time, 89 yards the second.
Well, that should seal the deal for the Cougars here. Still a lot of time left with 6:27. But with their defense, you got to like their chances to remain undefeated. Again, the difference in this game is Paul Gauze.
Well, we'll step away as the referees have a timeout on the field. Awaiting the extra point, Schalick leads by 13. Welcome back to Schalick, Glassboro. Schalick on top, 13-0, awaiting the point after. The referee was actually the umpire that was knocked down. He has come back to his feet, so that's a good sign. A bad sign for Glassboro is that Paul Gauze once again has electrified this crowd, and it's now 14-0.
What explosion. And what Paul Gauze has done for the entire athletic program at Schalick. The Schalick was always good at cross country and the tracks and soccer, a terrific boys soccer program, golf with Doug Smith, the coach over there. Schalick has become one of the top schools across the board in sports in all the programs, because now their basketball program is really good. I mean, it's really uplifted a lot of the sports programs. One of the things that Josh Hedgeman did here at Schalick is when he came to this program is he wanted to go across the board, learning the same type of system, the same style of football, a fourth grader just starting out in the game to a senior. And he came in and talked with his midget football coach down there in Pittsgrove Township and said, let's work together on this and run the same type of offense. And sometimes you don't get that help from your midget football coach. They tell you, forget it, I know what I'm doing. You know, I should have your job. They've worked together well, and now they're bearing the fruits of all that hard work and trying to get the same system. And you'll see a lot of programs that have success, the West Defords and Paulsboroughs, who do the same type of thing. And you see that in different sports. I know Dan Antonelli started a youth program in wrestling in Clayton, and Clayton wrestling became very good. And you just see that when coaches get involved at the youth level, it turns into W's at the high school level.
Kickoff fielded at about the 25-yard line, and once again, Glassboro will start with very good field position as Greg Smith returning the ball for the Bulldogs. But Shawn, you know, with 6:20 left, this is an offense that typically takes some time to score, other than your occasional burst from Darrell Rhodes, and with Paul Gauze back there serving as the watchman at free safety, he's going to shut down a lot of those threats. So Glassboro's really up against it here.
Yeah, just what Schalick's defense has been able to do. The history's on their side with 6:20.
Haggerty throws it up down the middle, wide open, and unable to find it is Brandon Simmons. And the only thing you can say is, how do you let someone get behind you in the secondary? Paul Gauze making a rare mistake. Haggerty trying to find Simmons, and Simmons trying to find the football.
Well, if he's the if he's the watchman, I don't want him on my watchtower. Because that was your definition of playing safety when you have a 14-0 lead. You let a guy get behind you. Like Ross did in that situation. The safeties have to get back and make sure nobody gets behind you. You talk about gray hairs from a coach. That just makes you sick there when you see it, even if it's not complete.
Haggerty across the middle of the slant. And he had Darrell Rose as an alternate receiver, but Simmons was also open.
And we don't. I don't want to blame that on Gauze either. That's Badger's responsibility as a safety in the back. And his nickname is Boo. Badger. He's a safety. His nickname Boo. And that's apropos because when he gets that sideline, he should be a little scared. Because I know Hedgeman's going to lay into him a little bit saying, do not let anybody get behind you. And he probably won't say it that nice either.
Third down. Probably 4-down territory. 6 minutes, 9 seconds left. Haggerty back to pass. A big rush here. Escapes the first man. Throws it up. Too much on it. Tipped up. They call it. And a penalty flag is thrown. So we'll see who this will go against. And now a late flag also thrown.
You're going to get illegal men downfield on the play. A lot of linemen down there who apparently they wanted to get out on the pass pattern though.
And they did.
Tip. It is flag is no flag. There's no foul. No foul. There's a tip.
So because the ball was tipped, there is no penalty, and that's a big break for Glassboro.
Yeah, now they're saying it's tipped, but I saw about 4 or 5 linemen downfield. But that's okay, you know.
So
what they called originally was pass interference, thinking maybe it was a pass interference, but they picked it up because once the ball is tipped, the defender could come up and lay a hit on the receiver.
Well, I think they were calling illegal men downfield. Well, I don't know. Maybe you're right.
They're saying the ball was tipped at the line of scrimmage.
Whatever they were calling, they're not calling it any longer. So
no, I think you are right. I think you are. Or they were initially going to call legal men downfield, but the ball was tipped at the line of scrimmage. Therefore, basically, it's a live ball. And again, it was tipped. But Haggerty's doing a nice job of just escaping and giving his team a chance. You know, he's been under a heavy pass rush, and for a sophomore, I think he's handled himself pretty well.
You got a lot of confusion. Earlier you had third down, 9 yards behind the ball. Now you had first down, and they finally straightened it out, made it fourth down with about 2. And now the referees are trying to sort this all out as someone's calling a timeout, and it's the referee who's calling a timeout. So Hedgeman coming to talk to the referees. This is very odd because the referees have called a timeout.
Timeout offense.
Okay, now it's Glassboro's called timeout. So, and this is a good timeout by Neilio. Some might say, well, you're burning a timeout, but this is a critical juncture. Fourth down, you have to make sure you have all your ducks in a row.
Yeah, you're exactly right. He just wants to make sure at this point with 4th and 1 that they pick up this first down and give themselves a chance to punch it in the end zone to try and come back. And it's a little chilly. I don't know if there's any ducks on the field. Them ducks are south by now, pal. Is it ducks that fly or?
Yes, ducks do fly.
South though. I mean, they go south.
Depends which way they're facing.
Because I've never followed them before. Everyone tells me they go south. Yeah, maybe they just stop off in Maryland and.
Fourth down, Haggerty, I formation. As Rhodes, somebody flinched, and I think this is going to go against Glassboro.
I think you might be right. I think one of the Glassboro
That is
linemen.
a critical mistake.
Well, he had all his ducks lined up.
One started to fly.
The dead ball, false start on the offense, repeat the down.
Well, again, I mentioned before Herb Neilio calling a timeout, and I thought it was a good call because you want to make sure you get the right play in the right situation, but that's all negated when you have someone jumping.
Yeah, I said he went to use it, but then didn't.
So you have to scratch your head. if you're Herb Nealio, and again, just increases the magnitude of this play. 4th down now, a very long 6. Haggerty sprints, sets up in the pocket, has a man, hits him, hits Simmons, and a great throw by Haggerty.
Great pass by Haggerty. That's poise for the sophomore quarterback.
First and 10, Glassboro moving the chains. 5:45 remaining. Haggerty again, backs in the eye. Quick drop, thrown, and just too much on that.
Yeah.
That's where the adrenaline gets the best of it.
Well, they don't have to abandon the run at this point. Still plenty of time, 5:35 on the clock. And you can't abandon it because you want to make sure that.
Well, first of all, you can't abandon it to keep the defense honest, but you also have Rhodes, who is sensational. He's been bothered by cramps all night, but again, he's someone that can pick up first downs on 1 carry. The clock stops with 5:35. Haggerty getting flushed out of the pocket. Directing traffic, throws it up, has Simmons, underthrows it, tipped up, intercepted. Paul Gauze with the interception, still on his feet. And Gauze finally brought down. And now a penalty flag comes in. Looks like it may have been a late hit.
That time, Haggerty just was not able to get up enough strength underneath the throw.
Throwing against his body.
Yeah, throwing up against his body. He's trying to roll to his left, trying to get something underneath. He does point to Simmons and say go deep, and Simmons looks like he may have beaten his man, but the ball was a little underthrown, just not able to get enough arm strength underneath the ball. But 5:18 left. They're going to really need to try and tackle the
dead
football.
ball, personal foul, late hit after the play was dead. First down.
Well, at this point, Glassboro just has to regroup, play some defense, and try to get the ball back as soon as possible.
Well, you look at this game, and I mean, if you're Coach Nealio, you're going to take your team in there and have all of them biting their lips for a chance to play this team again in the playoffs.
And they very
because
well.
you look at some of just a couple of mistakes here and there. Glassboro's been able to show that they can play with the defending Group 1 champions. There's been 2 big plays, both of them by Paul Gauze. You take them 2 plays out. I think Glassboro's really outplayed Schalick in the game.
Inside handoff, and big chunk here as instead of going to Gauze as they have throughout the night, Nick Tidwell with his first carry.
Now, still saying that, the Schalick defense is a dominant force.
Well, I think if Glassboro has any shot whatsoever, they have to stop him here, and that's going to be tough as it's now 2nd down and 4.
And you look at it, Glassboro's had a couple of big plays. They just weren't able to break them for touchdowns.
Stand starting to empty. Penalty flag here. Gauze with, again, a big run, but this will come back. So that's a good sign for Glassboro. Legal motion called against Schalick. Glassboro coming into this game off of a 54-0 win against Pittman. The week before, 41-0 against Woodstown. So almost 100 points in 2 games. And then, of course, that Pennsville game, they also go.
With illegal motion on the offense, 5 yards, repeat the down.
They also scored 47 points. They scored 40 or more in every game except Gloucester, and that was played in a quagmire. So I think Herb Nealio and these Bulldogs really expected to generate some offense. I don't think that they expected anywhere near the 40 points that they've had in many of these games, but conversely, I think they certainly did not expect to be shut out. Again, inside reverse. Nice tackle made by Rhodes, tripping up Badger.
Rhodes does a nice job of firing in there. Getting at Badger's ankles. Not allowing him to get to the outside. It's going to bring up a 3rd and 11. Clock still rolling. Remember, under 4 minutes.
Glassboro with just 2 timeouts. He called one earlier on that 4th down. Schalick mindful of the clock as they are underneath 4 minutes now. Down to 3:50. Schalick, I formation again. It's Gauze. Mind up deep. Pull your hands off Gauze. Gauze hits the hole, still spinning Gauze, and he will come up shy of the 1st down, so that's a big stop. And that series stopped in large part due to that illegal motion. So 4th down and about 3 or 4, and again, most likely you'll see Schalick punt here as the special teams unit comes onto the field.
This Cougars hold on to win this game. This will be the 3rd straight year that Schalick does beat Glassboro. These two have met each other since 1984.
There's some problems here. We'll see whether this is offsides or movement against Schalick.
Schalick did beat Glassboro in 1991, 20-6.
And this is going to go against Glassboro.
That's
so
pretty much going
first
to seal
down
it.
for Schalick, and that's maybe the final nail in their coffin.
See what happened was Jake said I looked like I'm at the Jake. So that's all I'm going to go do. Let's go, deep. Let's get this ball. Turn on.
2:48 left, 1st and 10 now for the Cougars.
Get the ball.
And again, Gauze kicks it outside, and that Glassboro defense will string it out. And we have a penalty flag, maybe a face mask. It is against Glassboro. So when it rains, it pours for the Bulldogs. Now a mass exodus from the bleachers as this game is all but decided. 2 runs, really the difference. Glassboro's offense really outplayed the Schalick offense, save for 2 big runs, 89 and 91 yards from Paul Gauze.
I mentioned these teams have hooked up a couple of times, but do you know who Glassboro has played more times in their school's history?
Who have they played the most?
Who have they played the most?
In their entire history.
That's right.
Well, I'll tell you, give me a couple minutes to think about this one. I'll get back to you on it. I've got to use my slide ruler and my protractor. Paul Gauze right up the middle. And again, we're going to have a penalty flag here.
Come on, have a guess.
I'm thinking. So this one's gonna come back.
Yeah, this goes having a good time. Dancing a little bit. Cheat. I'm not going to give you the satisfaction. It's Paulsboro.
You're not even going to allow me to guess?
No, they're not allowing you to cheat. You're looking through the book for it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm not giving you the satisfaction of coming up with the answer on air.
I would tell
70
you.
times those 2 teams have met. Now, could you tell me who?
I was just going to tell you how many times they met as well. But you know what? I don't think you're playing fair tonight, Mr. Leary.
I'll give you another one.
Okay, I'm up for it. Well, down to 140 left.
What team has Glassboro secured the most wins against?
Oh, Glassboro will call timeout.
Glassboro call.
Well, before we get to that little piece of trivia, 1:33 left. Down to one timeout. Let's take a look at the schedules here. First for Schalick, Pennsville and Clayton, a combined 107 points. If that weren't enough, they laid it to Pittman with another 59 points. And Salem really tested this Schalick team. Gloucester they rolled right over, and here you see Pennsgrove Woodstown. I don't think Schalick will have any difficulty with those two teams. And Cumberland, you know, it's kind of interesting, but Cumberland, a Group 3 school, but they've really had it handed to them as well this year, and I don't think Schalick's going to have any trouble with them either.
Yeah, Cumberland is pitiful.
Send your letters to Shawn Leary, please.
I'm not. They've been horrible this year. Come on, they lost to Deptford 76-6. And the
score was deceiving.
This is the Glassboro schedule. We see a couple of wins against Pennsgrove, Woodstown, Pittman. The other one against Gloucester, that was a 12-0 victory. That's a good one on the schedule. But they have Salem still left to play.
Gauls now again, another big pickup, and he'll run out of bounds, stopping the clock. But with the first down, they can probably take a knee and run this clock out. 1:24 left.
And I want to wish a congratulations to Walt Robinson, Glassboro's own Walt Robinson, who is in his 40th year as official. One of our good friends who's a clock operator up here in the booth was with us tonight. Always a good, friendly face when you see him.
Well, we had a very tight press box here. And I was squeezed between you and the Dean of South Jersey Sports, Walt Burrows. Anytime you know that, if you wonder if it's a big game, you see Walt here, you know it's a big game, and it's been a well-played game. Paul Gauze again, the ball carrier. Getting back to your trivia, I'm going to just register a guess. Right down the road is Pittman, so I'm going to say they've beaten Pittman more than any other team.
That's right. You're right. That answer's correct. Okay.
So we're down to a minute 7, minute 6 and counting. And at this point, I'm not sure that Glassboro is going to even use that timeout. And Schalick will likely respond by dropping to a knee and calling it an evening.
Glassboro beat a team 99-0 in 1921. You want to register a guess who that team was?
No. I have to tell you, I may be a little bit older than you, but I was not around then.
I'm just making that up. But no, it was Paulsboro. Just some trivia, just something to, around the water cooler tomorrow. Talk about throw a couple trivia questions out there.
Well,
okay, the real trivia is going to see how Glassboro responds to this loss. To see if they come out and especially going into the playoff run to see how they respond to this loss. They come out 5-0 and it's almost like, oh, here we go again. We face Schalick, hopefully this doesn't start, falling where we don't make the playoffs or something like that. Of course, that's probably not going to happen with this Glassboro team. They're going to want their revenge, believe me, in November against the Schalick team, or possibly in December. We'll see how it shakes out with the PowerPoints.
Well, again, you have to credit the Glassboro defense. They played well, and it was 2 runs by Paul Gauze, who was just the best player out on the field. Simple as that.
You're exactly right. Tonight, Paul Gauze was the best player on the field, and he was the difference in this Schalick win. 14-0. Schalick, the defending champions, find a way to get it done. But then there again, Schalick has to go back. And you talk about Glassboro and say we were just that close. Josh Hedgeman has to do a good job of telling his players, look, we have a few weeks before the playoffs come. We were that close to losing the Classic Division crown this year against Glassboro on this Friday night.
I think, again, in Group 1, it used to be Paulsboro, you could just write it in beforehand, and now Schalick has kind of taken over the mantle. But, again, you have some good teams. You have Schalick, Glassboro, Salem. We mentioned that Gateway has seen a resurgence, and very fortunate for them because they play football in Group 1, typically a Group 2 school. And again, I think Paulsboro will have something to say before it's all said and done as well.
And you got Lindenwold, who we saw against Paulsboro, who, on a good day, they can beat anybody. Group 1 is going to be so much fun this year. I think a lot of people are going to be excited about the Group 1 playoffs, and I know I'm certainly one of those people.
Well, you know, we're here at Glassboro to do our football game. We'll be here again on Wednesday to have some high school soccer. Woodbury and Glassboro, a couple of programs on the rise, so that'll be enjoyable. But we'll call it a night from here for my director, Stan Ritter. My partner, Shawn, Leary, I'm Rob Christ. Schalick victorious on the strength of 2 long touchdown runs by Paul Gauze, 14-0. Thanks for joining us, and good night, everybody.